Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. They say tomorrow is a new day. Well, last time I checked, it's still part of the fucking 7-day week of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I digress. There are a few things that I haven't spoken about in the past, but I do know one thing that I will probably need to be educated on because I know nothing about the subject. But the waspy women. That was me originally thinking it was a bunch of yellow jackets looking to stink here the traitor Starmer, though they might do that figuratively and literally at this point. But no, apparently there's a whole bunch of waspy women who want some compensation and what have you for some of their treatment in the traitor party. I mean Labour Party. Or maybe I was right first time. So I'll have to probably do some research, be educated on that kind of thing. But I think Keir the traitor Starmer can just add this to this long growing list of problems that he's got. Think of the song 99 Problems, and he's one of them, basically. Like, the man is just crumbling. He really is. He's got two Hopes. No Hope and Bob Hope. And frankly, I don't think even Bob Hope wants to help him with this one. But now, apparently, onto more serious concerns, is that apparently there's news that 3 people are being put on the same court date as each other, or at least in very close proximity to one another. Axel, the child murderer dakabana, who went out and stabbed 3 beautiful girls, and they ended up losing their lives, God rest their souls. Then we have, of course, Ricky Cutthroats Jones, who made that malicious threat that they should basically go and cut all the throats of the supposed far-right fascists. And then we have Mike assaulting Amsberry, who tried to claim self-defence. But in actual reality, the guy was just sitting there, hands in his pockets, and then he caught one right in the face. Yeah, real self-defence, Mike assaulting Amsberry. But apparently they're trying to put the date for all 3 of these people collectively onto the 20th of January, in the hopes that we won't be able to see all of them, because after all of us only have one pair of God-given eyes, except for the spectacles, probably make it a second pair. Anyway, we only have one pair of eyes, so they're expecting we won't be able to put our sight on 3 places at once. But that's where they're wrong, because we can collectively decide to split off and get all 3 cases covered, obviously without prejudicing the case, because principles and all that. But we could easily divert resources to each of these 3 cases and then cover each of them, so that way we can cover what's going on. Because I suspect they want to do this so that they can brush under the rug something or another. Because we all know how Keir the traitor Starmer and his treacherous establishment work. The ones who want to stroke number 1, who want to persecute political prisoners rather than people who are nonces or murderers or rapists, etc., etc. Because that is just the way they work, the criminal protection for that service. Or is it, the criminal prosecution service. Or maybe again, I was right first time. I can never really figure it out with them. They always seem more interested in protecting the guilty and persecuting the innocent. But hopefully, we'll have multiple people, multiple big channels as well. Mark Tuzey, Pythorpe? What the fuck? Paul Thorpe, Richard Inman. Oh, God. You can tell I've only just woken up, can't you? God, already having strokes, already pronouncing people's names wrong. Christ almighty. But my Tuzey, Paul Thorpe, nearly fucked up again. Richard Inman, Voice of Wales. We need all sorts of people to basically commit to one side of the cases, and then that way, if we subscribe to all the channels, while they're going off in each of their own directions, we can get all the news come in. That way, their little plan of, oh, we're going to sweep this under the rug. Well, it's not going to fucking work, is it? Because we're going to be in the know about all of them. That is deep down what they truly want, though. They want us to not know about these things. After all, if it doesn't suit the narrative, they don't want us to know. If it potentially puts their globalist, Marxist, socialist agenda in jeopardy, then you can bet your goddamn ass they'll try and censor it from the British public. But the way I look at it is Axel dakabana has been seen murdering those 3 kids. I think it's beyond and to the inclusion of every reasonable doubt that he's gone out of his way to kill these people, since there are a substantial number of witnesses at this dancing class that saw him do it. Therefore, it stands to reason that I believe that he will get sent down, quite frankly. I mean, you can't just go into the middle of a club with dozens of people there, start stabbing dozens of people, and expect to get away with it. As far as the twat who made the threat of cutting all our throats, well, it's straight from the horse's mouth, and it's on CCTV, so I think he is cooked just like that. Likewise, for Mike assaulting Amsberry, well, we've got the video footage showing him punching someone in the face. Therefore, beyond and to the inclusion of every reasonable doubt, that I think he will get sent down. The question is, what will they get as far as their sentences? And I'm not afraid to say this stuff, because all this stuff is in the public domain. But of course, the mainstream media won't want to tell you that. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. They would rather you focus on the fact that, oh, white man bad, far right bad, orange man bad. And it's coincidence as well, because when's the inauguration day of Trump? You guessed it, the 20th of January. They're not going to want to cover Donald Trump. They're too upset. They're too butthurt over losing the US election by a fucking landslide to want to cover that shit. No, they'd rather cover the trials. Anything that can serve as a distraction from Donald Trump, who they utterly despise. You could literally see the stench coming off of them from about 20 fucking light years away, quite frankly. But here's the thing. We will not be forgetting that Donald Trump will be in office on the 20th. We will not be forgetting that Joe, the old biddy Biden, and the other lefties started effectively tactics that would cause war to break out between Russia and us. They were effectively trying to start World War III before Donald Trump got into office. They were trying to make Donald Trump's position as untenable as possible, so that way he's got a hard time trying to sort this shitstorm out that the left have created. Kind of reminds me of another prime minister who also wears spectacles, has hair that looks like it belongs in the 70s, knew law but didn't really enforce it, and basically has alienated the entire public to the tune of having a minus 34 approval rating. I am, of course, talking about Keir the traitor Starmer. Keir the traitor Starmer, who is about as welcome in this country as a fart in a car. A guy who is about as popular as Jimmy Savile in his prime. Who is about as desirable in this country as a nonce is in a nursery. A man who has literally no principles and no integrity. He likes to lie through his teeth, stab people in the back, cause the elderly to go without winter fuel payments so that there may be up to 4,000 dead. And then, of course, he wants to send all of our money. He wants to piss your taxpayer money up the wall by sending it off to foreign countries and Islamic terrorists. Why isn't the media coming down harder on this terrorist sympathising bastard? And that's the thing. I'm always going to say it like that. Because and you can say it with me, I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is. Hopefully without causing an earthquake. Anyway, I will say it exactly how it is, and I will do my best not to bullshit you. Whereas Keir the traitor Starmer, he will do his best to bullshit you and do his best not to fucking serve you. The man is the sort of person who would piss in people's cornflakes. He would put shit in your lunch just to really make you feel like you need to gag. Keir the traitor Starmer hasn't got long left. I mean, think about it. Between WASPy, between the political prisoners, between sending our money off to terrorists, sending off our money in foreign aid to countries to fund wars, and then, of course, the Southport cover-up itself. That's a dangerous bunch of things to be associated with. I don't think even Farage would be able to survive these kinds of allegations, quite frankly. But this is not Farage who's under that scrutiny. It's Keir the traitor Starmer. And the longer this goes on, the more likely it is that Keir the traitor Starmer will be forced to resign. And as I said before, if he doesn't resign within the next 2-3 months, I think that people are going to make the decision for him. I think there's going to be a revolution. Why? Because the people have had enough. Now, let me be clear, as I've said every single time without fail, I do not want, condone, or wish to justify a violent revolution. I do not want it. I will, however, completely understand if people decide that that is their only option left. I wouldn't blame them, quite frankly. After all, I've said it many, many times, there are some people you just can't talk to, much akin to Adolf Hitler in World War II. Remember, as I said before, and I will keep reiterating, because the left like to call him far right. Adolf Hitler was a socialist, a left-wing socialist, not right-wing. And what is Keir the traitor Starmer? He's left-wing. There is a very scary set of similarities between the two. The obvious one that Keir the traitor Starmer hasn't done is he hasn't killed millions of Jews. But it doesn't change the fact that those two have a lot more in common than we would like to think. He is effectively the 2024 version of Adolf Hitler with less violence. It's as simple as that. But I think he is going to end up going to war with the British people if he keeps this up. I think in 2 to 3 months, if he hasn't resigned, I think the British people are going to go in and overthrow him, put simply. I think they're going to want his head on a spike. And as I said, I don't justify that. I will not condone that. But I will understand why they decide to do it. Because at the end of the day, as I said, there are some people you can't talk to. There are some people who are so set in their ways that sometimes you cannot get a peaceful resolution with these traitors. When you make peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. And I know they will, if this comes to light, they will try to bring the army in. But I would like to think the vast majority of the army would turn upon this Labour government because they serve the people, not treacherous politicians who only have self-vested interests and power and money and fame that they want to look after. The way I look at it, think about it. When Boris Johnson was in power, they even said, or was it Rishi the Slippery Sunak? They said that the majority of the people would serve us rather than them. And they were more popular, or they are more popular than Keir the traitor Starmer. How do you think that's going to affect it? I think the army is going to be very much in favour of deposing this dictator. Or again, maybe I was right first time. The bottom line is, Keir hasn't got much time left. He'd like to think he has a lot of time, and judge me in 5 years, as he said before. Yeah, bollocks of that. Judge you in 5 years. You've got about as much chance of that as I have of going to the moon in a rocket, quite frankly. You're a man with no principles and no integrity. Why should we take anything you have to say seriously? You decided to put the Muslim community over the British people as a whole. You know, the third world shithole barbarians that have either been homegrown here or have come over from their own third world shitholes to impose Sharia law into our country. When last time I checked, this is a Christian country. And last time I also checked, this is our country, not theirs. But this sectarianist bastard would rather put them before us. And I think those 3 trials, co-aligning with the inauguration day, I don't think that's coincidence. I think this is them trying to steer you away from knowing about Trump getting into power. And I think it's a way of, I guess, overwhelming us to make sure that we can't cover all the cases. But all we need to do then is we need to split our resources off. We do that, we can cover every case. And their plan collapses, just like that. The media and the government will do everything they can to stop us from knowing the truth. Because that's what they do best. Cover-ups, lies, dishonesty, and protecting the guilty while persecuting the innocent. They will have hell to pay before too much longer, and the devil will always get his due.